When it's so cold the air hurts your face, survival isn't just about warmth, it's about eating smart. At negative 84 degrees Fahrenheit, every meal is a lifeline, and the Inuit have mastered the art of turning ice-cold nature into survival fuel. Here are 15 incredible foods that make life possible when the cold shows no mercy. First up, frozen fish. When temperatures plummet to a bone-chilling negative 84 degrees Fahrenheit, the last thing you might expect is someone enjoying a fish popsicle. Yet for the Inuit people of the Arctic, frozen raw fish isn't just a culinary choice, it's a brilliant survival strategy. In the harsh Arctic environment, cooking isn't always practical or possible. Fuel is precious. Hunting trips can last days, and sometimes the simplest solution is the most effective. Enter the kwakyu, fish frozen so solid you could literally use it as a hammer before dinner. Many outsiders wonder if it's too cold to eat, but that's exactly the point. The Arctic is nature's freezer, preserving fish in pristine condition without any fancy equipment. The Inuit slice thin, translucent pieces of this frozen fish and eat them like nature's potato chips. The freezing temperatures actually preserve not just the meat, but also the vital nutrients that would otherwise be lost in cooking. Here's something that might surprise you. This traditional practice has been preventing scurvy for generations. While early explorers suffered from vitamin deficiencies in the Arctic, the Inuit thrived by eating raw fish that contains vitamin C, a nutrient typically destroyed by heating. It's like nature's multivitamin hidden beneath scales and fins. The taste? Nothing like the processed fish from your grocery store. Fresh frozen Arctic fish has a clean, subtle flavor that intensifies as it thaws slightly in your mouth. The texture starts ice crystal crunchy, then melts into something surprisingly buttery. Think of it as sushi that fights back with a brain freeze. There's also a practical side to this frozen delicacy. When traveling across ice floes in temperatures cold enough to freeze breath midair, stopping to cook becomes a luxury. Grabbing a slice of frozen fish provides immediate protein and fat, the two nutrients your body desperately needs to generate heat. Speaking of heat, your body actually works harder to warm up the frozen fish once you eat it, which helps raise your core temperature. It's like doing internal jumping jacks without moving a muscle. This metabolic boost is one reason why raw frozen foods are so important in the Arctic diet. For thousands of years, Inuit have relied on this simple yet ingenious food preservation method. No refrigerators, no preservatives, no cooking. Just pure protein-rich sustenance that's ready whenever hunger strikes. In modern times, many Inuit communities still keep a supply of kwak in freezers, bringing ancient tradition into the contemporary world. This frozen fish might seem extreme to outsiders, but it's just the beginning of Arctic survival food wisdom. Now, we move to an even heartier Arctic staple, seal meat. This remarkable food source functions as a complete survival package in the harshest climate on Earth. Survival in sub-zero temperatures requires more than just any food. It demands something that can warm you from within. Seal meat delivers this internal furnace effect through its exceptional richness in iron and fat. The iron content in seal meat surpasses beef by almost 4 times, making it a remarkable blood builder in a place where green vegetables are virtually non-existent. Inuit hunters pursue seals with incredible patience, sometimes waiting for hours by a breathing hole in the ice. The reward justifies the wait. A single medium-sized seal provides approximately 40 pounds of meat and fat, enough to sustain a small family for several days in the merciless cold. The versatility of seal preparation demonstrates Inuit ingenuity. In its most straightforward form, it's eaten raw and frozen. So fresh, it practically barks at you. When time allows for cooking, the meat transforms into a hearty stew. During summer months, strips are hung to dry in the Arctic wind, creating a jerky-like preservation method that lasts through long hunting journeys. Perhaps most fascinating is how nothing goes to waste. The liver contains more vitamin A than almost any other food source on the planet, enough to make a carrot feel completely inadequate. Even the blood becomes a nutritional powerhouse, mixed into soups to create a rich iron broth that combats the constant threat of anemia in a region with little sunlight. For generations, the Inuit have created a fermented version called Akutaq, carefully aging the meat in specific conditions. While the strong aroma might challenge an untrained nose, the fermentation process creates beneficial bacteria and preserves crucial nutrients. This preparation method represents thousands of years of food science knowledge developed without a single laboratory. Seal meat also produces a unique physiological response. After consumption, blood rushes to the digestive system to process the dense nutrients, creating a warming sensation throughout the body. Arctic travelers often consume seal meat before sleeping outdoors, as this biological central heating system keeps them warm through the night. The fat content deserves special recognition. At around 27% for some cuts, it provides the caloric density necessary when your body burns energy just to maintain its temperature. This fat isn't just fuel, it contains specific omega-3 fatty acids that protect against cold weather ailments and keep the brain functioning in environments where making mental mistakes can prove fatal. Modern nutritional analysis has confirmed what the Inuit knew through observation and tradition. Seal meat contains precisely the right combination of nutrients to survive extreme cold. It's not merely food, but a complete environmental adaptation strategy contained within a single protein source. As essential as seal meat remains, sometimes even more specialized fat is required to survive the cold. Another Arctic delicacy that might raise eyebrows among outsiders: Muktuk, the traditional combination of whale skin and blubber that serves as both food and medicine in the frozen north. The first encounter with Muktuk is memorable. 3 distinct layers create a visual pattern resembling a monochrome sandwich. The top layer consists of blackish skin, followed by a thin pink-white membrane, and finally, the prized blubber. This natural architecture isn't just visually interesting. Each layer contributes different nutrients and textures to the eating experience. Texture defines Muktuk more than flavor. The skin offers resistance like dense rubber that would make even the toughest beef jerky throw in the towel. The blubber beneath melts slowly, releasing a buttery essence that coats the mouth. First-time eaters often struggle with the combination. Chewing through the skin requires determination, while the blubber dissolves with surprising speed once warmed by body temperature. Nutritionally, Muktuk stands as a powerhouse. A 100-gram portion delivers more vitamin C than 5 oranges, solving the perennial Arctic challenge of obtaining this scurvy-preventing nutrient when plant sources are unavailable. The blubber contains vitamin D, critical in regions where winter brings months without sunlight. Evolution couldn't have designed a more perfect food for this environment if it tried. Harvesting Muktuk involves entire communities working together during whale hunts, an event surrounded by cultural significance and strict harvesting rules. After successful hunts, the Muktuk is divided among families according to traditional practices that have remained largely unchanged for thousands of years. Preparation methods vary across Arctic regions. Some communities prefer their Muktuk completely raw and frozen, like nature's most extreme popsicle. Others briefly boil it or pickle it in soy sauce, a more recent adaptation showing cultural exchange in action. Some modern Inuit households even cube and salt it before freezing, creating convenient snack portions. The digestive system reacts dramatically to Muktuk consumption. The high fat content triggers an intense metabolic response, generating significant body heat, a literal internal furnace effect that can feel like turning up your internal thermostat during winter months. This warming property makes Muktuk especially valuable before activities that expose people to extreme cold. Most remarkably, Muktuk provides a concentrated form of omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants that protect brain cells against oxidative damage, particularly important in an environment where clear thinking can mean the difference between life and death. The brain protective qualities of these marine fats have been linked to remarkably low rates of certain cognitive disorders in traditional Arctic communities. For the Inuit, Muktuk transcends mere sustenance. It embodies cultural identity, survival knowledge, and community bonds forged through thousands of years of Arctic adaptation. Every chewy bite connects present-day eaters with their ancestors who developed these food traditions through careful observation and necessity. While Muktuk provides exceptional fat-based nutrition, sometimes muscle meat with different properties is needed for balanced health. That's when the focus shifts from the sea to the land. Enter the caribou, an essential Arctic staple that brings a different kind of nourishment to the table. Unlike the rich, fatty marine foods, caribou meat is lean, packed with protein, and crucial for maintaining strength. Think of it like adding vegetables to a meal, except these vegetables have antlers and know how to dodge a hunter. The relationship between Inuit and caribou stretches back thousands of years, recorded in cave paintings dating to over 8,000 years ago. These ancient artworks depict hunting scenes virtually identical to practices that continued into the 20th century, proving that when you find a good hunting technique, you stick with it longer than most people stick with their New Year's resolutions. Caribou meat stands apart from commercial beef in several important ways. Its deep red color reveals an extraordinary oxygen-carrying capacity, necessary for animals that migrate hundreds of miles across tundra. This translates to iron levels approximately 4 times higher than farm-raised cattle. If spinach made Popeye strong, caribou meat would have sent him to the moon. The lean meat contains just 2% fat compared to domestic beef's 15 to 20%, yet provides more omega-3 fatty acids than many fish species due to the caribou's diet of lichen and wild plants. When hunting succeeds, nothing goes unused. The tongue, considered a delicacy, contains specialized fats that provide energy during extreme cold. Heart and liver deliver concentrated B vitamins and iron. Even the stomach contents are sometimes consumed, providing predigested plant matter in a region where vegetation is scarce, essentially letting the caribou do your salad prep for you. Bones become tools, soup bases, and marrow reserves, nature's emergency food tubes stored inside leg bones. The most ingenious caribou preparation might be pemmican, the original survival food that predates modern energy bars by millennia. Traditional pemmican combines dried caribou meat with melted fat and sometimes berries. The resulting mixture can last for years without refrigeration while delivering complete nutrition in a compact form. When your modern protein bar expires after 6 months, remember that pemmican laughs at your puny shelf life. A single pound provides approximately 3,000 calories, enough energy to sustain hard physical work in freezing conditions for an entire day. Hunting these animals requires extraordinary skill. Caribou possess vision that can detect movement from over half a mile away. Their sense of smell alerts them to humans from even greater distances. Successful hunters must become nearly invisible, using techniques like crawling downwind for hours across rocky terrain, basically playing the world's most uncomfortable and high-stakes game of freeze tag. The reward justifies this patience. A single medium-sized caribou yields about 90 pounds of meat, enough to sustain a family for weeks. What makes caribou particularly valuable is its reliability through seasonal changes. While marine mammals might become inaccessible during ice transitions, caribou migrate in predictable patterns across land. Their hooves act as natural snowshoes, allowing them to travel across snowy landscapes that would trap other animals. Mother Nature gave them built-in snow equipment, while the rest of us have to shop at outdoor stores. The spiritual connection to caribou extends beyond mere sustenance. Many Inuit communities maintain hunting ceremonies honoring the animal spirit, reflecting a worldview that recognizes mutual dependence rather than simple resource extraction. This respect manifests in practices designed to ensure caribou populations remain healthy for future generations. While caribou provides essential proteins and minerals, sometimes a sweeter energy source helps maintain morale in the bitter cold. Now the question is, could dessert exist in the Arctic? The answer comes in the surprising form of Akutaq, traditional Inuit ice cream that bears little resemblance to the sugar-laden treats found in grocery store freezers. After a hearty meal of caribou, this unique concoction provides both pleasure and essential calories. Unlike conventional ice cream, Akutaq contains no dairy whatsoever. The base begins with animal fat, traditionally from caribou, moose, or seal, whipped to a light, fluffy consistency. The original non-dairy alternative that would make modern health food stores jealous. This process transforms dense, calorie-rich fat into an airy texture remarkably similar to whipped cream, despite being made in an environment where cows are completely absent. The fat serves as more than just a creamy base. In temperatures reaching -64 degrees, consuming concentrated fats provides the body with slow-burning fuel necessary to generate warmth throughout the night. 1 cup of traditional Akutaq delivers approximately 800 calories, nearly half the daily requirement for someone engaged in strenuous cold weather activities. What makes Akutaq truly special is the addition of hand-picked Arctic berries. These small fruits perform botanical miracles by surviving in a climate where most plants cannot complete a full growth cycle. Crowberries, cloudberries, salmon berries, and blueberries bring essential vitamins to the mixture, along with natural sweetness. These berries survived the Ice Age while dinosaurs called it quits. Talk about resilience. Their intense flavor concentrates during freezing temperatures, creating bright bursts of taste against the rich backdrop of animal fat. The final ingredient might raise eyebrows: snow. Clean, freshly fallen snow gets folded into the mixture, creating frozen pockets throughout the dessert. This addition transforms the texture into something between ice cream and sorbet. Mother Nature's free ice crystals, zero processing required, making Akutaq becomes a community event, particularly during celebrations. The process begins with a clean container and freshly rendered fat. Women traditionally whip the fat by hand, a labor-intensive process taking up to an hour. The original arm workout before gyms were invented. Each stroke introduces air, creating a progressively lighter texture. The transformation seems magical. Dense, translucent fat gradually becomes white, fluffy, and doubled in volume. Family recipes passed down through generations, with each household maintaining slight variations that become points of pride. Some add a pinch of salt to enhance sweetness. Others incorporate different berry combinations based on seasonal availability. Modern adaptations might include a spoonful of sugar, though traditionalists maintain this addition diminishes the complex interplay of flavors. The nutritional timing of Akutaq is particularly clever. Consumed after protein-rich meals, the fat-berry combination helps slow digestion, extending the feeling of fullness during long winter nights. The berries provide vitamin C protection against scurvy, while the fat delivers fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, all critical for immune function in challenging environments. In a place where conventional desserts would freeze solid as rocks, Akutaq remains just the right consistency for eating. Its ingenious composition reflects a deep understanding of available resources and nutritional needs. Ice cream that functions as survival food, making it possibly the only dessert that could save your life. While Akutaq satisfies the sweet tooth, the harsh Arctic environment demands constant adaptation in eating habits. The next remarkable food in the Inuit survival toolkit showcases how they mastered not just land hunting, but also the challenging waters beneath the ice. Arctic char stands as a testament to evolutionary perfection. These fish remain active in water temperatures just above freezing, conditions that would immobilize most other species. Their bodies produce a natural antifreeze compound that prevents their blood from crystallizing even when swimming in water cold enough to instantly numb human hands. Evolution gave these fish built-in thermal underwear while other species fled south. What makes Arctic char truly exceptional is their nutritional density. A single 6-ounce portion contains over 2,000 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids, more than twice the amount found in farmed salmon. These essential fats maintain brain function and mood stability during the long, dark Arctic winter. The flesh also contains vitamin D, critical during months without sunlight, essentially providing liquid sunshine in each bite. The striking appearance of Arctic char adds unexpected beauty to the stark landscape. Their silver bodies feature pink to red spots along their sides, while their undersides blaze bright orange or red during spawning season. This vibrant coloration comes from carotenoid compounds that also serve as powerful antioxidants when consumed. Mother Nature created the only food that looks like a swimming sunset and functions as preventative medicine. Catching Arctic char demonstrates Inuit ingenuity at its finest. Traditional methods include jigging, a technique where a carved bone lure attached to sinew line gets manipulated through holes cut in ice up to 6 feet thick. The motion mimics injured prey, triggering the char's predatory instinct. More elaborate systems involve stone weirs, rock walls built in shallow areas that guide migrating fish into collection areas during seasonal runs. The versatility of Arctic char preparation showcases practical adaptability. During winter, the fish might be eaten completely raw and frozen, providing immediate sustenance during travel. Summer allows for air-drying strips on racks, creating a jerky-like product with concentrated protein that remains edible for months. Smoke preservation uses driftwood or dwarf willow to impart flavor while extending shelf life. Each method aligns perfectly with available resources and seasonal needs. Most impressive is the char's life cycle resilience. Some populations never leave fresh water, while others migrate between rivers and the Arctic Ocean, a journey that requires physiological transformations to handle the shift from fresh to salt water. This adaptability allows them to access multiple food sources, growing larger and fattier than strictly freshwater populations. These fish switch between salt and fresh water easier than most people switch between regular and decaf coffee. Arctic char fishing locations become closely guarded, knowledge passed through generations. The best spots combine favorable water conditions with predictable fish behavior, creating reliable harvests year after year. This geographical wisdom represents centuries of observation encoded into cultural memory, a map of survival not found on any paper chart. The relationship between Inuit and Arctic char extends beyond simple predator and prey. Traditional practices ensure sustainable harvesting, taking only what is needed and respecting seasonal cycles. This connection reflects a deeper understanding that survival depends on maintaining balance rather than maximum extraction. While Arctic char provides essential nutrients from water sources, the Arctic landscape also offers unexpected plant-based treasures. The tundra holds surprising treasures, berries that defy the harsh climate with remarkable stubbornness. These tiny fruits represent botanical miracles that contribute essential nutrients to the Inuit diet. How do plants produce fruit in a region where temperatures remain below freezing for 8 months of the year? Arctic berries employ extraordinary survival tactics. They grow incredibly close to the ground, rarely reaching more than 4 inches in height, to stay within the thin layer of air warmed by the sun-heated earth. Many species complete their entire 2-year growth cycle during the brief summer, storing energy during the first year and producing fruit in the second. These plants master the art of extreme time management better than any productivity guru. Crowberries stand among the hardiest Arctic fruits. These small black berries remain on plants throughout winter, actually improving in taste after freezing. The secret lies in their chemistry. Freezing causes cell walls to break down, releasing sugars that were previously locked away. This means Inuit can harvest them year-round, even digging through snow to find preserved fruit during winter months. 1 cup of crowberries contains more antioxidants than blueberries, with compounds specifically adapted to protect plant cells from the oxidative stress of extreme cold. Cloudberries present another Arctic wonder. These amber-colored berries resemble raspberries but contain 4 times the vitamin C content of oranges by weight. In a region where citrus fruits cannot grow, cloudberries prevent scurvy, a historic killer in northern climates. They grow in boggy areas, their roots extending deep into permafrost-adjacent soil. If superhero fruits existed, cloudberries would wear the cape, saving lives with their vitamin powers while surviving conditions that would kill most plants. Lingonberries add vibrant red splashes to the tundra. These relatives of cranberries contain natural preservatives that allow them to stay edible for months without refrigeration. Their tartness comes from benzoic acid, the same compound used in commercial food preservation but produced naturally by the berry. When food supplies dwindle in late winter, these self-preserving fruits provide crucial vitamin access. Traditional gathering techniques reflect generations of observation. Berries are collected using specialized combs carved from antler or bone, allowing harvesters to strip many berries quickly without damaging plants. Children learn these skills early, developing an eye for identifying the best patches, knowledge as valuable as hunting skills in ensuring community survival. The nutritional timing of berry consumption demonstrates deep ecological understanding. Inuit traditionally eat berries alongside fat-rich foods, a combination that maximizes fat-soluble vitamin absorption. Berries gathered during summer might be stored in seal oil, preserving them while creating a convenient winter food that combines multiple nutrient sources in a single package. Modern research validates traditional knowledge about these fruits. Studies have found Arctic berries contain unique compounds developed to protect plants from extreme conditions. These same compounds provide protective effects against inflammation and cellular damage when consumed. A single cup of mixed Arctic berries delivers more diverse phytonutrients than most commercial fruits, reflecting the competitive advantage of plants that must survive against overwhelming odds. The unexpected abundance of these berries challenges common assumptions about Arctic scarcity. During peak season, a skilled gatherer can collect several pounds per hour, enough to provide significant nutritional support. This productivity in such an extreme environment demonstrates nature's remarkable adaptability. While plant foods provide crucial variety, sometimes the Arctic diet requires more unusual protein sources. The Arctic skies offer another remarkable food source. The ptarmigan, a bird that refuses to migrate south despite the harsh conditions, becomes an important protein alternative when larger game proves elusive. What makes ptarmigan extraordinary is their complete commitment to Arctic living. Unlike most birds that flew south for winter, these determined creatures stay put year-round. Their secret weapon? A wardrobe change that would impress any fashion designer. During summer, ptarmigan wear mottled brown plumage that blends perfectly with tundra vegetation. As winter approaches, they molt into pure white feathers, becoming nearly invisible against snow. The only bird with a seasonal color scheme more reliable than department store holiday decorations. Their winter adaptations extend beyond mere appearance. Feathers cover their feet completely, creating natural snowshoes that distribute weight and provide insulation. Even their nostrils sprout tiny feathers to warm incoming air before it reaches sensitive respiratory tissues. At night, these birds dive into snowdrifts, creating insulated burrows where temperatures remain much warmer than the outside air. For Inuit hunters, tracking ptarmigan requires keen observation skills. Despite their excellent camouflage, these birds leave distinctive three-toed tracks in snow. Traditional hunting methods include snares set along commonly used pathways or hunting with bow and arrow. A successful ptarmigan hunt might yield 5 to 10 birds, each providing about 1 pound of meat, enough to supplement a family meal with valuable protein. The nutritional composition of ptarmigan meat reflects their Arctic adaptation. The flesh contains higher fat content than typical poultry, providing concentrated energy necessary for cold weather survival. This increased fat gives the meat a distinctive flavor that changes with the seasons. Spring ptarmigan tastes different from fall birds due to their seasonal diet shifts from buds and twigs to berries and insects. Nature's way of offering menu variety when restaurant options are limited to exactly 0. Every part serves a purpose beyond mere eating. The feathers stuff mittens and sleeping mats, providing insulation that mimics their original function on the bird. Hollow bones become needles or small tools. Even the crop, a pouch where birds store food before digestion, gets examined for edible plant matter, offering clues about which vegetation remains available during winter. Ptarmigan hunting carries seasonal considerations that demonstrate ecological awareness. Traditional practices limit spring hunting to protect breeding populations, focusing instead on fall harvest, when numbers peak following the summer reproductive season. This natural timing aligns with human needs. Ptarmigan reaches maximum weight in autumn, providing more substantial meals precisely when people begin preparing for winter. The digestive approach to ptarmigan differs from larger games. While caribou organs might be eaten immediately, ptarmigan are typically plucked, gutted, and cooked whole. The small size makes preservation challenging, so these birds are usually consumed within days of hunting, rather than stored long-term. One traditional preparation involves stone boiling, heating rocks in fire, then placing them in water-filled containers to cook the meat without requiring metal pots. Most fascinating is how ptarmigan adapt their diet to survive Arctic conditions. During winter, they subsist almost entirely on willow and birch buds, woody material most birds couldn't digest. Their specialized cecum, a digestive pouch, contains bacteria that break down fibrous plant material, essentially functioning as a fermentation chamber. These birds figured out how to digest tree branches, making them the ultimate recyclers in a land of scarcity. While ptarmigan provides valuable protein from the air, the Arctic coastline offers even tougher survival fare. Walrus hunting represents one of the most challenging and dangerous food acquisition methods in the Inuit diet, but the nutritional rewards justify the extraordinary risks involved. A full-grown walrus can weigh over 3,000 pounds, roughly the same as a small car, with 2-foot-long tusks capable of puncturing boat hulls or human hunters with equal ease. Hunting these massive marine mammals requires not just skill, but also exceptional courage. Traditional walrus hunters approach on ice edges or by small boats using specialized harpoons with detachable heads connected to sealskin floats. Once struck, the float prevents the animal from diving and disappearing. The toughness of walrus meat cannot be overstated. The dark red flesh has a density unlike any other food source, requiring special preparation techniques. If regular steak is a kindergarten reading assignment, walrus meat is a doctoral thesis written in concrete. This extreme density comes from myoglobin-rich muscle tissue developed for deep diving, where oxygen must be stored within the muscles for extended periods. The result is meat so dark it appears almost black, with a texture that challenges even the sharpest knives. Traditional aging methods transform this formidable protein source into something more manageable. Some communities practice controlled fermentation, burying walrus meat in the ground for weeks or months. The natural bacteria break down tough connective tissues while simultaneously preserving the meat. This process creates Akutaq, aged walrus with a distinctive flavor and softer texture. The taste proves divisive even among experienced Arctic food consumers, with complex flavors reminiscent of strong cheese or fermented plants. The real treasure of the walrus hunt is not the meat, but the fat layer. This dense blubber, often reaching 6 inches thick, represents one of the most concentrated energy sources in the Arctic food chain. A single square foot of walrus blubber contains approximately 12,000 calories, enough to fuel strenuous activity in freezing temperatures for multiple days. Mother Nature packaged a week's worth of energy into what looks like an oversized mattress topper. Specialized tools evolved specifically for walrus processing. The traditional ulu, a curved knife with a handle positioned above the blade, allows for the precise cutting motions needed to separate blubber from meat. Different-sized ulus serve distinct purposes, from the small examples used for detailed work to larger versions capable of processing blubber sheets. Even the organs provide specialized nutrition. The liver contains extraordinarily high levels of vitamin A, so concentrated that consuming more than a small portion can actually cause toxicity symptoms. This potent organ became traditionally divided among many community members, recognizing both its value and potential risk when consumed in larger quantities. Walrus hunting embodies community cooperation, requiring teams of 6 to 8 hunters working in perfect coordination. Success demands not just hunting skill, but extensive knowledge of ice conditions, walrus behavior, and weather patterns. A successful hunt can provide over 1,000 pounds of usable food, enough to sustain an extended family through weeks of harsh weather. The tusks themselves become valuable tools and trade items, carved into harpoon heads, ice picks, sled runners, or decorative items. These dense ivory structures represent the sustainable use of every available resource. From dangerous sea creatures to dinner to toolbox, talk about complete recycling. While walrus represents an impressive food source, the sea offers other hidden treasures beneath the ice. Gathering mussels during Arctic winter ranks among the most dangerous food collection methods on Earth. When sea ice reaches its maximum thickness of 5 to 6 feet, certain Inuit communities undertake the risky practice of mussel harvesting through ice holes. Timing becomes crucial. Hunters must work during the lowest tides when mussels become accessible beneath shoreline ice, yet they must finish before tides return to trap them under the frozen ceiling. The tools required remain remarkably simple despite the complex challenge. Traditional ice picks carved from walrus tusks or caribou antlers create initial holes. Modern metal tools have replaced some of these, but the technique remains unchanged. Once through the ice, specially designed rakes with long handles scrape mussels from rocks and pull them up through the opening. Why undertake such risk for shellfish? The nutritional profile explains their value. Arctic mussels contain extraordinary concentrations of iron, selenium, and vitamin B12, 3 nutrients particularly challenging to obtain during winter months. A single cup of raw mussels provides over 300 times the daily requirement of vitamin B12, addressing potential deficiencies that could otherwise cause dangerous neurological problems. These little shellfish pack more essential nutrients than a vitamin store during a going-out-of-business sale. The harvesting process creates a rare sensory experience in the monochrome winter world. When pulled from frigid water, fresh mussels display vibrant orange flesh that stands in stark contrast to the white and blue landscape. This bright color comes from carotenoid compounds absorbed from the mussel's microscopic food sources. Mother Nature apparently decided the Arctic needed a pop of color during interior decorating. Taste sets these Arctic mussels apart from their warmer water relatives. The extreme cold produces uniquely sweet, clean-flavored meat without the mineral aftertaste often found in mussels from more temperate zones. Traditionally eaten immediately after harvesting, they deliver a burst of ocean flavor rarely experienced in the Arctic diet. Some Inuit describe the taste as capturing the essence of the sea itself, pure, untamed, and energizing. Knowledge of productive mussel beds passes down through generations. The best collection sites combine specific rock formations with current patterns that provide rich feeding for shellfish populations. Keeping these locations secret once protected communities during food shortages, as undisturbed mussel beds served as emergency food reserves when hunting failed. The shells themselves become valuable resources. Ground into powder, they provide calcium supplements when mixed with food. Intact shells serve as small containers, scraping tools, or cutting implements. Some traditional practices include using polished mussel shells as reflective surfaces for signaling across ice or detecting approaching bears by their shadow movement when placed at strategic points around camps. Sustainability concerns have always guided mussel harvesting. Traditional practices limit collection to what can be consumed within days, ensuring populations remain healthy for future harvests. Size selection focuses on taking only larger specimens, allowing smaller mussels to continue growing and reproducing. This natural conservation ethic developed long before modern sustainability concepts entered environmental discourse. While these seafloor treasures provide essential minerals from the sea bottom, the water column itself offers another unexpected food source. Kelp, the remarkable seaweed that thrives in frigid ocean temperatures, provides a surprising plant-based addition to the traditional Inuit diet that many outsiders never associate with Arctic nutrition. Kelp harvesting takes advantage of both seasons and tides. During the lowest spring tides, vast kelp beds become accessible along rocky coastlines. Winter collections involve breaking through ice near shorelines to pull up the leathery plants. Unlike many food sources that become unavailable during certain months, different kelp varieties remain harvestable year-round, creating a consistent source of vital nutrients when other options grow scarce. The nutritional profile of Arctic kelp explains its importance. These marine plants contain among the highest natural concentrations of iodine found in any food, critical for thyroid function and metabolism regulation in an environment where the body must generate significant heat. A mere 2 tablespoons of dried kelp provides over 4,000% of daily iodine requirements. It's basically a thyroid superfood wearing a seaweed costume. Texture defines the kelp eating experience. When dried, certain varieties become remarkably crisp, creating what traditional communities enjoyed as nature's potato chips long before processed snacks existed. The dried strips crack with a satisfying crunch before melting into a savory umami flavor profile. Other preparations involve boiling fresh kelp into soups, where it adds thickness and mineral richness to broths made from available animal proteins. Preservation methods showcase practical innovation. Strips hung on racks dry quickly in the constant Arctic winds, developing concentrated flavor as they shrink to a fraction of their original size. The dried product remains edible for months without additional processing. Some communities traditionally stored dried kelp in seal oil, creating a ready-to-eat combination that provided both fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins in a single food. Beyond direct consumption, kelp serves medicinal purposes in traditional practices. Certain varieties contain alginates, compounds that can bind with heavy metals in the digestive system and remove them from the body. Applied externally, kelp poultices help draw out infections and reduce inflammation from wounds. The iodine content naturally disinfects cuts and abrasions in an environment where more conventional medicines remain unavailable. Harvesting techniques demonstrate ecological awareness developed over generations. Traditional practices include cutting kelp above the holdfast, the root-like structure that anchors it to rocks, allowing the plant to regenerate rather than removing it completely. The timing of harvest considers growth cycles, focusing on mature plants while leaving younger specimens to develop. This natural sustainability approach ensures kelp beds remain productive indefinitely. Most remarkable is how kelp provides nutrients otherwise missing from the Arctic food chain. The plants concentrate minerals from seawater, including magnesium, potassium, and calcium that might be limited in land-based food sources. These minerals support nerve function, prevent muscle cramps, and maintain bone health during long, dark winters when vitamin D synthesis through sunlight becomes impossible. The versatility of kelp extends to practical applications beyond food. Dried kelp strips serve as wicks for oil lamps when other materials aren't available. The strong, flexible seaweed can be woven into storage containers or twisted into cordage for emergency repairs. This plant manages to be food, medicine, and hardware store, all while growing underwater in temperatures that would freeze most vegetables solid. While kelp provides essential minerals from the sea, sometimes the human body requires warming from within. Hot beverages play a crucial role in Arctic survival, with traditional Inuit teas serving as both medicine and morale booster in environments where temperatures can plunge to -64 degrees. Boiling water itself represents a significant investment in the Arctic. Fuel, whether animal fat and traditional oil lamps or precious driftwood, remains limited and must be used judiciously. The fact that Arctic cultures prioritize hot drinks despite this scarcity underscores their importance. The warming effect begins even before consumption, as hunters holding steaming cups warm their hands before the liquid warms their insides. Labrador tea stands as the most widely consumed traditional hot beverage across northern regions. Made from the leaves of wild-growing rhododendron plants, this tea contains compounds that increase blood circulation to extremities, a critical benefit when frostbite threatens. The leaves get harvested during brief summer months, dried thoroughly, and stored for year-round use. It's essentially nature's hand warmer in a cup, minus the weird chemical smell. The preparation method enhances both taste and medicinal properties. Leaves steep in water just below boiling temperature for 5 to 8 minutes. Any longer extracts bitter compounds that can cause stomach upset in high concentrations. Traditional knowledge specifies that the water should cool slightly from boiling before adding leaves, showing sophisticated understanding of extraction chemistry developed through observation rather than laboratories. Taste varies based on harvesting location and timing. Early summer leaves produce a lighter, more aromatic brew, while late-season harvests create deeper, earthier flavors. Unlike commercial teas that aim for consistency, these natural variations became seasonal markers, with each batch telling the story of when and where plants grew that year. For digestive support after consuming rich, fatty meals, Arctic communities prepare specific blends using available plants. Crowberry leaves added to hot water create a tannic brew that aids in digesting heavy proteins and fats. This traditional understanding of food pairing aligns perfectly with modern knowledge about tannins breaking down proteins during digestion. These traditional herbalists figured out food science before food science was cool. The social aspect of tea drinking cannot be overstated. Inside snow houses or other shelters, the passing of hot drinks creates moments of community connection during long, dark months. Traditional knowledge sharing often happens during these tea breaks, with elders passing critical survival information to younger generations over steaming cups. The ritual transcends mere hydration, becoming a framework for cultural continuity. During times of scarcity, creative alternatives emerge. Pine needles steeped in hot water provide surprising amounts of vitamin C, more than 5 times the concentration found in orange juice by volume. Willow bark tea serves as nature's aspirin, containing natural salicylates that reduce pain and inflammation after strenuous hunting trips. Each local region develops specialized blends based on available plants, creating distinct regional tea traditions across the Arctic. Modern research confirms what traditional knowledge long understood. Many Arctic plants contain concentrated bioactive compounds as part of their own survival adaptations to extreme conditions. These same compounds provide medicinal benefits when consumed, creating natural pharmacies accessible even in the harshest environment on Earth. These plants had to become tough to survive, and they passed that toughness on to anyone smart enough to brew them. While tea soothes and warms from within, sometimes more potent preservation methods become necessary for survival. Traditional Arctic fermentation stands as one of the most ingenious and admittedly aromatic food technologies ever developed. These powerful smelling preserved foods tell a story of survival through bacterial partnership. Fermentation begins with fresh catches at peak harvest seasons. Fish heads, particularly from salmon, get buried in grass-lined pits in the ground. These pits create the perfect environment for controlled decomposition, cool enough to prevent dangerous bacteria, but warm enough for beneficial microbes to thrive. After several weeks underground, the resulting product develops a pungent aroma that can be detected from remarkable distances. These foods announce their presence to your nose long before they introduce themselves to your taste buds. The nutritional logic behind fermentation proves impeccable. The process preserves vitamin content while making proteins more digestible. Beneficial bacteria produce B vitamins during fermentation, actually increasing nutritional value during storage. The strong smell comes from compounds that, while eye-watering to the uninitiated, signal successful preservation rather than spoilage. First-time tasters often express surprise at the disconnect between smell and flavor. Despite the intense aroma, properly fermented fish heads often taste milder than expected, with complex umami flavors and a creamy texture as fats transform during the fermentation process. The experience resembles strong cheese, initially challenging but appreciated for its depth once accustomed to the flavor profile. Traditional knowledge developed precise markers for proper fermentation versus dangerous spoilage. The color, texture, and specific aromatic notes all guide safe consumption. This sensory wisdom represents food safety science developed through observation and intergenerational knowledge transfer rather than laboratory equipment. Modern nutritional analysis confirms what traditional practice discovered. These fermented foods contain beneficial probiotic bacteria that support gut health and immune function. In environments where fresh plants become seasonally unavailable, fermentation creates microbial diversity in the diet that supports overall health. While fermentation masters preservation through bacterial action, the Arctic environment still offers other surprising food sources. Despite brutal conditions, certain herbs and roots manage to thrive where common vegetables would instantly surrender to the cold. Fireweed shoots emerge before most other plants dare show themselves. These early spring treasures provide essential vitamin C after winter months of limited plant access. When harvested young, their tender stems taste similar to asparagus with a unique peppery finish. These plants basically win the award for first to the party in the Arctic growing season. The iconic Arctic cotton grass produces edible roots with surprising carbohydrate content, critical energy sources in an environment where sugars remain scarce. Traditionally harvested by digging through semi-frozen ground, these marble-sized root nodules offer a sweet, crunchy bite reminiscent of water chestnuts. Beach lovage grows remarkably close to shorelines, developing intense flavors as protection against harsh conditions. Its leaves contain essential oils that provide both seasoning for other foods and medicinal benefits for respiratory complaints. The concentrated oils make a little go a long way. Just 2 or 3 leaves flavor an entire pot of stew. It's nature's hot sauce. A tiny amount, big impact, and occasionally makes your eyes water. Most impressive are Arctic willows, whose inner bark contains natural salicylic acid, the same compound used in aspirin. Strips of this bark, chewed or steeped in hot water, create a natural pain reliever, showcasing how Arctic plants evolved concentrated medicinal compounds as survival adaptations, the original pharmacy that never asks for your insurance card or makes you wait in line. While these hardy plants sustain life through vitamins and medicine, the most nutrient-dense traditional food might surprise outsiders. The next Arctic delicacy comes not from plant or mussel, but from a source many cultures discard entirely. Blood soup, a traditional Arctic delicacy, transforms what might be considered a hunting byproduct into a life-sustaining meal that embodies the waste-nothing approach to survival. Fresh blood from caribou or seal contains remarkable nutritional properties. Rich in iron, protein, and B vitamins, this crimson liquid delivers concentrated energy in a form that warms from within. The iron content in 1 cup of blood soup exceeds 7 times that found in the same volume of beef stew, a critical nutrient for preventing anemia in a climate where pallor can indicate dangerous deficiency. Traditional preparation begins immediately after a successful hunt. The warm blood gets collected in a container, sometimes mixed with small pieces of meat and fat, then heated gently to create a thick, steaming soup. Some recipes include wild onions or beach greens when available, adding flavor complexity and additional vitamins. It's the ultimate one-pot meal that requires no actual cooking pot. The animal provided that too. The texture surprises first-time tasters. Unlike water-based soups, blood has natural thickness from proteins that coagulate slightly during heating. This creates a consistency similar to cream of mushroom soup, but with significantly more nutritional punch. The flavor profile features mineral notes balanced by the rich, meaty undertones from dissolved fats and proteins. Most impressive is the speed factor. Blood soup can be prepared in minutes, providing immediate sustenance during hunting trips when energy needs peak, but time remains limited. This quick energy aspect proves particularly valuable when weather threatens and shelter must be established rapidly. Fast food existed long before drive-thrus, just with considerably more survival value and no colorful mascot. The medicinal aspects extend beyond mere nutrition. Traditional knowledge recognizes blood soup as particularly beneficial for those recovering from illness or injury, when the body needs concentrated building blocks for tissue repair. This understanding aligns perfectly with modern nutritional science, confirming blood as one of the most bioavailable sources of iron and complete proteins. From frozen fish popsicles to blood soup, the 15 extraordinary foods that enable survival at negative 84 degrees demonstrate how human ingenuity, traditional knowledge, and perfect adaptation to local resources can create a complete diet in one of Earth's most challenging environments.